The receiver clicked into place, emitting nothing but static, yet the operator knew exactly what he had heard. It was 1967. The North Atlantic was a graveyard of silence, and yet someone was transmitting from a lighthouse that had been abandoned for months. The air in the room is thin, cold, and heavy with the scent of damp paper and old tobacco. Let's look at the files. The Flannan Isles were supposed to be empty. They were rugged, jagged teeth of rock jutting out of the Scottish Sea, home only to gulls and the restless wind. The lighthouse, a towering monolith of granite, stood as a testament to engineering, but it was also a tomb of secrets. When the relief keepers arrived in that bitter winter, they didn't find the warmth of a lit stove or the hum of machinery. They found a table set for a meal that was never finished, the soup turned to thick, gray sludge, and the silence. Oh, the silence. It wasn't the silence of peace. It was the silence of a house holding its breath. But the oddity wasn't the abandonment. It was the logs. The final entries weren't written by a man observing the weather or noting the passage of ships. They were manic, scribbled in a handwriting that seemed to shrink into the paper. The keeper described a storm that never appeared on a meteorological chart. He wrote about a sky that turned the color of bruised plums and a sea that ceased its movement, becoming as flat and hard as a pane of glass. Then, the transmission began. It wasn't a standard distress call. It was a repetitive, rhythmic pulse, a sequence of numbers that shouldn't have been possible given the archaic, damaged equipment in the facility. Technicians who analyzed the tapes later, men with hardened faces and skeptical eyes, confirmed the impossible. The signal was pulsing at a frequency that the lighthouse transmitter couldn't physically reach. It was as if the lighthouse was being used as a mouthpiece by something that didn't know how to speak. The investigation was hushed up within weeks. Documents were stamped classified and buried in archives that don't see the light of day. But there is a detail that keeps me awake. In the center of the lantern room, the glass was shattered from the inside out, as if something had been trying to escape, or perhaps something had been trying to enter from the very air itself. The investigators found footprints leading to the edge of the cliff, but they stopped abruptly, as if the person had simply dissolved into the mist. There were no return tracks, no struggle, just a sudden, clean end to a human life. And yet, the signal continued for another 6 hours after the last footprint vanished. Who was holding the microphone? Was it the keeper? Or was he merely a witness to a broadcast he didn't understand? The authorities claimed it was atmospheric refraction, a rare acoustic anomaly that happens in high-pressure systems. But they lied. Atmospheric refraction doesn't recite your name. It doesn't know the exact date you were born. And it certainly doesn't apologize for what it's about to do next. The deeper you look into the ledger of the Flannan Isles, the more you realize that the sea is just a cover for something much older, something that has been waiting under the salt and the foam for centuries. We like to think that we have mapped every inch of this planet, that there are no shadows left to hide in. That is the greatest comfort we give ourselves. But look at the evidence. The broken glass, the cold soup, the transmission that originated from a dead machine. These aren't just details, they are screams. The keepers didn't disappear because of a storm. They disappeared because they finally tuned into a frequency that human ears weren't meant to endure. The last entry in the logbook wasn't a distress signal. It was a countdown. And if you think it's over, you're missing the point. The signal never stopped. It just moved to a frequency you aren't listening to yet. Look at your own life, the weird static on your phone, the phantom knock at your door, the feeling of being watched when the house is empty. It's all connected. The lighthouse was just the beginning. The archives are full of these anomalies, these moments where reality hiccups and lets in a sliver of the abyss. Think about the lighthouse the next time you lose signal, in a place where you should have full bars. Are you really losing your connection, or are you just tuning into something that has been waiting for you to notice?